Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast, a podcast celebrating 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much for everyone that's been part of the journey so far. Really excited to see where it's going and really excited to break down for the first time the T20 World Cup, which has kicked off yesterday and games today. 4 incredible games of cricket. I'm Rob. This is Rich. Welcome to the podcast.
What's going on, Rob? How's it going? All good?
We're good. Celebratory cup of tea to go with 1,000 subscribers. Living my best life, Rich, with a cup of tea. That's what I'm doing.
All good, mate. Yeah, happy to. Nice little moment to get to, isn't it? A long way to go, but nice. Just do it for a bit of fun, don't we? So always nice to see a few people out there enjoying it. So long may it continue.
Exactly. And if you are brand new, you're just finding us part of this T20 competition, subscribe to us. We are available on all platforms of where you may listen to a podcast, as well as seeing average looking faces on YouTube with average looking haircuts. But rather than haircuts, let's talk about something that's been really good, mate. And there has been 4 interesting games of cricket, with a couple of them being absolute worldies.
Yeah, too right. It got off to a great start, didn't it? Hosts Oman playing against your neck of the wood, Papua New Guinea. What a start to the tournament. I know this is only the qualifying stage, so let's not get overly excited, but for these guys, this could be the tournament for them. So, Oman, the host, got off to an emphatic start. 10 wicket win, set up in large part by their experienced skipper, Zeeshan Maqsood. I feel like he was definitely one of the players that we told people to look out for. He ripped through the Papua New Guinea middle order. After they got off to an absolute shocker. None for 2 in the first 9 balls, but their captain, Assad Vala, 56, and Charles Amini, 37, got them up to 81. And then it went downhill again from there, didn't it? Staggering to 112 for 5 before 129 all out. Yikes. It was a good start, wasn't it, for Papua New Guinea? Just they couldn't quite get going. Oman then, basically, the 2 openers, Jatinder Singh, 73 not out, and Aquib Ilyas, 50 not out, made light work of the attack, comfortably getting home inside 14 overs. No shortage of man of match nominees for Oman, Rob, but the unbeaten openers, obviously, 2 wickets for that quick Bilal Khan we spoke about as well. But Zeeshan Maqsood, 4 wickets, rightly awarded the honour. Yeah. Bangladesh up for Oman, and we'll get on to Bangladesh in a minute, but I think Oman will be fancying themselves.
Yeah, they looked a genuine outfit, mate. Their openers looked like, and it's silly to say they look like just really good cricketers. They look like someone that wasn't overawed by the occasion. They've been here before, and they were the far superior team. And it came in moments, mate. At the start, they were 2 for none off 2 overs, Papua New Guinea, and put themselves into a corner through some really good bowling. Bilal Khan swinging it left arm, bowling 83 mile an hour. The bowler from the other end, whose name mistakes me at the moment, Callum Muller, he bowled with good pace, bowling 82, 83 mile an hour. But it was those wickets in clusters. There was a partnership. There was an absolute stupid run out between Vala and Amini, which was their whole batting lineup was gone in that moment, pretty much, with that run out, and all chances had gone. And then there was 3 wickets in the over for the spinner. So when you do that to yourself and you've lost 5 wickets effectively in 2 overs of a T20 game, you're not going to be coming off too good. But I think the thing for me is, when I look at a man, they've got a good bowling attack, decent spinners without setting the world alight. The challenge comes for associate nations when they face someone of genuine speed, someone bowling 88, 89, 90 mile an hour, which we've actually seen during this part of the competition. But, touch wood, they've knocked off 130 in 13 overs, going at almost 10 and over, mate. There's no one else. We'll go through the other 3 games. There's no one else even relatively close to that.
No, absolutely. I mean, Papua New Guinea, 129 for 9 off their 20. They'll be proud of the effort they put in. They're a together side, aren't they? They might not have the superstars. They've hardly played any cricket either. It's really worth mentioning that. Again, we did talk about that in the preview. Go and listen to bits of the preview. You tagged it as well, Rob, didn't you? You time-stamped it, so you can just pick and choose which teams you want to listen to. Go and have a listen. But they'll be proud of their effort. Again, not patronising, I think it will be. They'll be happy to see that. But Oman was superb. The rate of scoring as well, 73 not out for Jatinder Singh off 42 balls. Ilyas playing a little bit more of a holding role in 50 off 43. So absolutely superb from them. They'll be absolutely chuffed. And like we said, Bangladesh up next, Rob, for Oman. And I think we get onto that one now. They thought they'd won it about 4 times, didn't they, against Scotland?
Oh, they did. And so did I. I said I was sat here working from home in lockdown in New Zealand, and I was watching it during the day, avoiding social media. And I was like, oh, mate, this is this is a no-go, or Scotland have just bust it. And then all of a sudden it turns into an incredible contest.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, basically this was another incredible team and individual performance in this game, game 2 of this qualifying tournament. Scotland, they made life as difficult as possible for themselves, as we've just said, before coming back to beat the favoured Bangladeshis. The star of the performer was Chris Greaves, playing in his only second international game, and apparently, according to Captain Kyle Kurtzer, he was recently working delivering parcels for Amazon, was Mr. Greaves. How quickly things change. He's now getting a man of the match award in the first game for Scotland against a big team like Bangladesh to clinch a 6-run win for Scotland. So Chris Greaves, he top scored 45 with a bat at number 7 to help Scotland all the way up to 140 for 9 after they had slipped to 53 for 6. Greaves also snaffled himself 2 for 19 in the Bangladesh reply, including the wicket star batsman Shakib Al Hassan, who's obviously only just recently come back from his ban. So as for Shakib, just worth mentioning here a little bit, he got 2 wickets. He's established himself now as the leading wicket taker in T20 international history, 108 victims, one more than Sri Lanka legend Lasith Malinga. The only people I think anywhere near Rashid Khan 95, Tim Southee, is he in the Kiwi squad, Rob?
Yes, he is. Yep.
He is. So he's on 99 as well. So they're the only current players that are chasing Mr. Al Hassan. So they'll be looking to catch him. But yeah, decent game. 140 for 9 in the end for Scotland. Bangladesh 134 for 7. They missed their target of 141. Mushfiqur Rahim top scoring with 38. Mamadullah 23. Brad Wheel 3 for 24. Impressive as well for Scotland. No time to wallow for the Lions either. So as we said, Oman coming up. This is absolutely a must-win next game for Bangladesh, but Oman will be feeling very good about it.
It's such a strange... I think this is the best thing about T20 cricket, mate, is the fact it can change on a dime and you can end up with different outcomes very, very quickly. Because I was watching this and I was watching how the Bangladesh opening bowlers were going about the business. Taskin Ahmed, I was like, he's bowled 90 mile an hour. When was the time we had a Bangladesh bowler bowling 90 mile an hour, swinging it, and bowling absolutely superb? He had Carl Coates in all sort of trouble. Safudin bowled really well. Rahman bowled really well. And they were absolutely cruising. You look at this, 16 overs down, Scotland were 96 for 6. And then they went bang towards the end. But it's not about going bang to score 200. And I think that's going to be one of the great things about this World Cup. In the last 4 overs, they went from 96 to 6 to 140 for 9 and gave themselves a chance of winning this contest, thanks to some great hitting by Chris Greaves and Mark Watt as well, who shouldn't go under the radar for his 22 at the end. He had to be there with him to allow him to take it on. But it was just a great performance, and wickets just constantly fell apart. I think Bangladesh would look at it and say their weakness generally is their ability to chase down runs. And again, it doesn't matter who they're playing against. The weakness was the ability to chase down runs. They had a poor first 6 overs, 25 for 2 off the first 6 overs. All of a sudden, you do that to yourself. 140 is actually quite a big target.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at Greaves, obviously you spoke about the runs, how they got them runs in the end, 45 runs off 28 for his man of the match knock. But Bangladesh, they didn't ever seem to get going properly, did they? They seem to be waiting. They seem to be playing almost like what we would call like almost an old club cricket knock, where let's make sure there's wickets in hand at the end. Let's make sure it's a steady foundation. But I mean, 6-7 runs short with 7 wickets down, 3 wickets in hand. They've got to be kicking themselves, haven't they?
Yeah,
you've got to go and just take that risk. Yeah, absolutely. Too much of this. 38 off 36 from Mushfiqur Rahim as a top scorer, and Mamadullah 23 off 22.
Yeah.
It's great that they were the top scorers, but if you're going at about a run a ball, you've got to be scoring a little bit quicker, especially if you've got a few weeks in hand and you're only losing by 6 runs. Disappointing for Bangladesh, but Scotland, absolutely incredible victory. And again, like Oman, they'll be taking the confidence through to the next game.
Yeah, it's superb, mate. I think that the big wicket that sealed it was Shakib Al Hassan, 20 off 28 balls. He knew he had to be there at the end. He got an awful half tracker, and calling it a half tracker is probably kind, off Chris Greaves. Outside the off stump, and he toe ended it to the man out on the mid wicket boundary, mate. And when that was done, that was like, that's the guy. It's like Brian Lara playing in the 2000 West Indies team. You get him out, you're in a really good position. And they just never really recovered from that. They gave it a good run at the end, but they were always behind. And fair play to Scotland. They were the better team, had more heart, and they won it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was the first day in the books. 2 incredible games of cricket, 2 surprise wins, I would say, for the 2 teams. Maybe not Oman's as much, but surprising in how how complete their victory was. But as we got on to day 2, so today we saw Ireland against Netherlands and Namibia against Sri Lanka. I'm going to start off with Sri Lanka first, actually. It's a later game, but Sri Lanka, this is a pretty easy one to go through, isn't it? Namibia, the underdogs, 96 all out. Jared Erasmus, 20, the captain, and Craig Williams, 29. Just nowhere near enough. They left 3 balls to spare in the innings. They were all out. Mahis Theksana, 3 for 25. Lahiri Kumara, 2 for 9 off 3.3. Exceptional figures. And that little star in the making, Hasaranga, 2 for 24. Sri Lanka knocked them off with acres to spare. 39 balls remaining, 7-wicket win. Bhanuka Rajapaksa, 42 not out of 27, and Avishka Fernanda, 30 not out. JJ Smith, Trumpelman, our favourite named Namibian, Bernard Schultz, all 1 wicket apiece. A solid win for I'd say the qualifying stage, big boys, Sri Lanka. So an easy route there. Yeah, for the Sri Lankans.
And they looked the better team, mate. They looked what they should be, a full-fledged test nation that's capable of beating Namibia. They turned up. And, I said earlier, you look at some teams and it's how do they do against someone like Chamira bowling at 90 mile an hour and 149k. Well, Zane Green opening the batting for Namibia got absolutely pinned twice on the noggin. And it was just a case of the ball was too fast for him. And there's nothing wrong with that. You expect to see things like that. But it is a rude awakening for people. And to be fair, rolling back, George Munsey was brilliant in his 29 for Scotland in the game that we just covered. Yes. But there were times where Taskin was bowling at 88, 89 mile an hour and he looked too quick. He looked too quick for him, and Munsey was struggling a little bit, but he got him away for a 4 and a 6. But it is how do associate nations go with good pace and against Sri Lanka, really top quality spin. They're just a great team against this team, against this sort of team.
Yeah, and then they've got the first game out of the way. The first game in any tournament, whether it's a football World Cup or cricket, that's the one you're going to slip up on, isn't it? So if you can get a good win, a solid win early, you've got yourself in position where you can go on and then just consolidate and top that table or at least get second place. And Sri Lanka look like they absolutely will do that now. Yeah. So let's get on to Netherlands and Ireland, because this is a game which, again, the Celtic nations, Ireland, Scotland, they joined Scotland with a win here for Ireland. Netherlands really, really disappointing, I think, in this one. And they've put themselves in a position where they're going to have to beat Sri Lanka if they want to progress. So they are really up against it now. So Netherlands, 106 all out in the 20 overs. Max O'Dowd, 51 of 47, and Captain Peter Sellar, 21. But the story of this game, Curtis Campher, the 22-year-old Joburg-born Curtis Campher, putting a man-of-match performance. 4 wickets in 4 balls in the 10th over, seeing off Colin Ackerman, Ryan Tenderskata, Scott Edwards, and Roelof van der Merwe. Incredible, absolutely incredible. Mark Adair, he took an impressive 3 for 9 as well for Ireland. That's halfway through the game there. You look, it's game over at that point already, isn't it?
It is. It's incredible. Like his first wicket of those 4, which absolutely ripped it apart. But it wasn't just that. Again, you look at your power play. What are you doing? They were 25 for 2, mate. They hit 3 boundaries in the power play at the start of the game.
Not going to cut it.
Backed themselves into a corner. 50 for 2 after 9 overs. 52 for 6 after 10 overs. Absolutely incredible. Short one down the leg side, got reviewed, got given out. Then 2, and this is key, 2 balls, full, not fast, but tailing in towards the stumps. Had 3 wickets in 3 balls. And then bowled one outside off stump that the guy went and chopped on 4 on 4. And at that point, the game is just ripped apart. You see it from time to time where a bowler just, anything he touches turns to gold. And I guess this is the peak. Like, you have points in your career. A 4 in 4 at a T20 World Cup is absolutely the peak. And that man, I hope, is having a really, really good night on the Guinness to celebrate, even though he's in the middle of the World Cup, because he's deserved it.
Bless him. So, yeah, I mean, it was something else, wasn't it? Like you say, by the time he'd finished that over, it was 51 for 6, 50, whatever it was for 2, and then 51 for 6. That was it. All they could do was set a modest target, basically 106 on the board, so 107 target. Thanks, like we said, to that captain, Peter Silla. But Ireland made short work of it. Yes, 3 down, but Paul Sterling, 30 not out. He saw it through in a fluid 44 of 29 from Gareth Delaney. Yep. Got them through, basically. He was dismissed just before the end, Delaney, wasn't he? But that was fitting, because it meant that Campher was at the end 7 off 7, along with his 4 wickets, man of the match performance. Sometimes in games, you just need that late wicket. Delaney probably deserved to see them over the line, but it was a game that needed Campher to be there right at the end, just to get his red inker along with his 4 in 4.
Yeah, exactly. That's a hell of a day. How was your day out? Absolutely brilliant. Day of my life. I'm loving it. Delaney was brilliant.
Yeah, I'm just about to say, did he get his subs worth? Yes.
He definitely paid £7 and had a wonderful day and probably a good tea as well.
Great tea, yeah. Sorry, Delaney.
Delaney was class, mate. He scored 88, I think, in one of the warm-ups as well, off not many balls. And here he just continued. He looked like a man on fire. Paul Sterling played quite an under the radar role for the sort of player that he is. But look at it. They're only chasing 106. He's batted through, got 30, scored at a strike rate of 76. That's great. He also bowled the first over of the innings with his spin and went for 1 run with 5 dot balls. You can look at it and go, he's underperformed with the bat. He's not gone at his normal rate. But actually, the value he's added to this game is an amazing effort, really, when you look at it going 1 over in the first over of the game. I also want to give a quick shout out to Maxwell Patrick O'Dowd, who opened the batting for the Netherlands. He was the linchpin that kind of held it all together, scored it more than a run a ball. Also, born in Auckland and went to school around the corner from where I live, and the school my kid might go to as well. So good to see the Kiwis.
Absolutely. Kiwis all over the world, mate. Love it. So yeah, that's 2 days in the books. It's well underway. The tournament feels very close now. We're not quite there in the main part. That starts next week, but we have had warm-up games. We've had a sight of what could be the future, haven't we? We've had some pretty good games today. We've had a South Africa beating Afghanistan pretty convincingly by the look of it. West Indies, Pakistan a 7-wicket win against Windies. Australia, New Zealand. Australia won by 3 wickets. Did I hear someone like David Warner got a first baller in that one?
He did. Tim Southey got him first ball, mate.
Absolutely. But the big one, and the one we've just got to talk about for a few minutes, is England, India. Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad warm-up game, is it? That's basically the bookies' favourites this tournament are India and England, and they played it out today. 7-wicket win for India with 6 balls remaining, but a decent scoring game. 188 for 5 for England, 192 for 3 for India chasing. Scores all the way through for England. The starts at the top of the order for Roy and Butler, Milan, but then Bairstow 49, he top scored. Livingston 30, we'll get onto him in a minute. A bit of news about him. Moeen Ali 43 not out to go alongside his 30-odd not out in the IPL final. So decent little outing for England. It's not about the victory at this point, as we will say that because India won. Mohammad Shami 3 wickets, Bumrah 1 and Rahul Chahar. But it was the Indian response, wasn't it? That was what was most impressive.
Yeah.
Fifth, I'll just quickly rattle and then you pick at it. But KL Rahul 51, rapid one off 24 balls. This is not KL Rahul, the test player. This is the white ball player. It's his twin brother. Ishan Kishan retired, not out on 70. He got his days working. Kohli 11, Rishabh Pant 29 not out, and then just bits and bobs for Surya Kumar Yadav and Hardik Pandya for the ball at wickets for Willie, Wood and Livingston. So pick out what you want from that, and then we'll just touch on Liam Livingston and whether or not there's a bit of a doubt for the first game because of an injury.
Batting lineup, it's kind of as you expect, everyone looking good. And I think you're going to look at it and go, everyone got in a little bit. David Malan only scoring at a run of ball. His ability to go on after getting in is what sets him apart from everything else and why he's a cog to this team at 3. 18 off 18, then getting out is a little bit of a worry. But I'm sure he'll come good during the World Cup. Livingston getting some runs, Bairstow getting some runs, what you'd expect. Moeen Ali, I think this is going to be Moeen Ali's finest World Cup. I really do. I saw a tweet about him the other day. He's won the World Cup. He's won the IPL. Can he go and win the T20 World Cup thrown into the mixer as well? It'll be quite remarkable career if he can do that.
Yeah, he deserves it as well, doesn't he? He just seems to be playing. He's playing with that freedom. Obviously, he spoke about when he got back in the Test side, it was a little bit difficult for him to readapt and think long term in a game of cricket. So this is where he wants to be. He looks like a man that's playing with some freedom. CSK and Mahendra Singh Dhoni, they've got him playing with that freedom as well, haven't they, in the IPL? Hopefully, England can embrace this and go forward. Big question is Liam Livingston. He's got himself a bit of a mischief, hasn't he? Going for a catch in the deep in the 16th over. So we nearly got through this game without an injury. In warm-up games, yes, it's lovely to win. Yes, we want to see players hitting a bit of form. But the main thing is we get the team through without any injuries. And obviously, this is a bit of a worry. We don't know the severity of it, but there is a doubt whether he will be a fit for the first game, which is obviously the first day of the tournament next week. So that's a big one. It probably answers one or makes it slightly easier for one man, and that's the captain. That's a certain... I get sick of saying his name, Owen Morgan.
Yeah,
so if you want him in, you start looking at this team, and it looks a better team without him. And that's not me being horrible about him. He's an important part of the setup. He's the captain. He's been, he's huge part of the success of white ball teams for a number of years. But you look at this T20 side and you look at that batting lineup, and it looks like a better card without Owen Morgan at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially because Livingston's he's big cheese material at the moment, isn't he? He's all over the place. He's scoring runs. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's on fire. And I think we're a better team when Moeen Ali's in the top 6 as well. Not too high, but that period where he can come on later, we are a better team. I think if you look at this, minus the Livingston thing, what's your worry about it? I think England's opening partnership with the ball needs to be really solidified and work out what's that going to be. Because at 6 overs, they scored 59, mate. That's a really 59 for none. That's a really, really solid opening partnership to get you off, especially when you're chasing 190, because then it's not cruise control, but you're in control of the game at that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Willie seems to bowl well. I didn't get a chance to watch this game as particularly, so watched little bits and bobs. But Willie, he's only gone for 16 off 3 overs. But then the rest of the card, apart from Livingston's 2 overs, everyone's gone 10 and above.
Yeah.
The spinners I would be a little bit concerned about. They've gone at nearly 12, 14s and 12. 14 and 12. Sorry, I do apologise. But then the next 3 seamers, Chris Wokes has gone for 40 off his 4 overs without a wicket. Mark Wood 1 wicket for 22 off his 2, and none for 35 for Chris Jordan. So I don't. There's no panic, absolutely no panic. But you just want to make sure that those guys get it out the system in this game and can kick on and go forward from there.
Keeping it with England. England Lions have finally announced the squad. So the main Ashes team has been announced to go to Australia. There's this Lions team, which I presumably is there as a COVID backup, just in case we need a plan B thrown into the mixer. That has been announced as well.
Yes. 17-man full squad announced, like you said. This is probably actually not arguably, this just is the most important Lions squad in recent history, possibly ever. Let's really big this up. We don't usually have a big excitement for a Lions squad announcement, but let's have it for this one. So there is a potential for some of these players who we're going to name in a minute to get themselves into the full squad with some strong performances. There's going to be intra-squad warm-up games, and they're also going to be playing a 4-day game against Australia A before returning home December the 16th. But some of these players, I'm absolutely certain, will end up staying with the squad. With me so far?
Yes, I'm there. I'm in Australia. I'm enjoying the sunshine, mate. And there's 32 English players having a knock-up.
Do you know who's with you then? So Tom Abel is going to be with you from Somerset. Josh Bohannon, Lancashire. James Bracey, Gloucester, who obviously played a couple of games earlier this year for England. Or was it 1? I can't remember now. It was 2, wasn't it? Bryden Cast of Durham, Mason Crane, the spinner from Hampshire, Matthew Fisher, Yorkshire, Ben Folkes of Surrey, the wicketkeeper, Alex Lees of Durham, Saqib Mahmood, Lancashire, Liam Norwell, however you want to say his name, from Warwickshire, Matt Parkinson, the leggy from Lancashire, Dom Sibley gets a call up from Warwickshire, Jamie Smith from Surrey, and Rob Yates of Warwickshire. So the big news for me, the big takeaways for me of this one, obviously you've got people like Ben Folkes in there, but for me, Durham opener Alex Lees, he's back, he's in there. We wanted some opener cover, didn't we? Dom Sibley's obviously in there, but Alex Lees was the other name that I was kind of mentioning when Hasib Hamid got the call up. So I'm really pleased for Lees. I think he's a really, really talented player who's took a long way round, let's put it that way. I'm also really excited to see Surrey's supremely talented Jamie Smith in there as well. Really good batsman, can play at the top of the order, anywhere in that middle order like most Surrey players can. And he can keep wicket as well. So some interesting names in there.
Yeah, there are, mate. I think Abel's a great shout to be around. There's been calls for him to try and fill the number 3 void for England, considering his success at Somerset over the last 3 or 4 years. He's always constantly around, but never quite been able to go, hey, I'm England worthy to bat at number 3, even though we've had a terrible number 3 issue for quite a while. Good to see James Brace is not forgotten about just because he's really struggled. He was horrendous in those 2 test matches against the Kiwis. That doesn't mean he's a bad test match player. Bradman scored none on debut. So I'm not saying he's going to be Bradman, but I'm saying he's not bad enough to average 3 in a test career.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's good to see Bracey in there and Folkes as well. So nice wicketkeeper cover, isn't there? Just in case we do have any issues with Butler or Bairstow. Saqib Mahmood, I'm really pleased. He will count himself unlucky not to be included in the full squad. Bryden Cast was a name that we thought about, maybe might have just snuck in there as well. Big unit of a guy. Big broad-shouldered fella, a bit of a Tremler-esque, and that's what this England team tend to like over in Australia, get some bounce on these tracks. Liam Norwell of Warwickshire as well fits that same bill. Matt Fisher's a little bit of a surprise name. I'm pretty sure he made his debut when he was about 16, didn't he? I mean, if that's Sussex now, it's pretty much an old player. But a few years ago for Yorkshire, that was something that we was all talking about. So it's a really interesting squad. Josh Bohannon has been absolutely key for Lancashire as they marched on to try and get somewhere this year in the Championship. And obviously Warwickshire, with this form that they finished the season with, they've been rewarded, haven't they, with a few of those names. Rob Yates, worth mentioning. He's got the pick, I think, probably above Tom Haynes of Sussex, who just picked him in the run scoring charts. But Rob Yates was there or thereabouts, getting on to about 1,000 runs by the time it was all done. Really promising squad. Like we said, they're going to be around the squad. The 17-man squad that England have announced, it will be supplemented, I'm certain, by at least 2 or 3 of these players. They will be staying with the squad all the way through. Obviously, they're going to be flying home on the 16th of December. So, there's time for them to really catch the eye of the coaching staff, Chris Silverwood, etc. Just quickly, I just want to talk about a few omissions. I've spoken about Tom Haynes already. That's a bit of a surprise for me. Who else, Rob, are you a bit surprised didn't make this backup team?
I think James Vince is one that kind of sticks out, because when we were talking who's going to bat at 3 for England, it felt like a conversation between Milan and Vince as the two with international experience that could come in and do a job. Yeah. So to see him not included in this, but I could be wrong, but got some sort of central contract. I might be making that bit up, but I felt like he did get some sort of, hey, you're all right by us. I feels a little bit wrong. I could be wrong in saying that. There might be a fact check coming on YouTube comments going, hey, Bobby, Jack.
If it was one, it would be an incremental one. And the central contracts now are white ball, T20 one-dayers and test match combined. So if he has snuck in there, it is because of, obviously, he is a one-day player, etc., isn't he? So yeah, but there's always an expectation that he'll be around any squad. Whenever we announce a squad for a winter, his name will always be bandied around. He'll be retired and we'll still be wondering why he hasn't made the squad. So I do agree with that one. Liam Livingston as well. I think he was somebody that the press and others were starting to bandy around as a maybe get in there just because of how well he's done in white ball. Now, if this was the old setup with what's his name, old aviator sunglasses, man, he'd have had him in on the back of the T20 performances. But I think it's fair that they've said that his red ball performances aren't quite there yet, especially when you compare it versus some of the other players that have made it. So it's good that they are rewarding some red ball county cricket performances over white ball, which is Livingston. But he's there or thereabouts. A stunning T20 World Cup, and he could certainly change that, and he could be living in Australia over the new year. A couple of Marverdi, maybe Surrey spinner, and then a couple of bowler Sam Cook of Essex, 56 wickets around that figure he took this year. I think he's probably about the 3rd leading wicket taker, and Harry Brook, the Yorkshire middle order player, but he will be in the Big Bash. So I suppose he's still going to be around in some capacity, isn't he?
I wonder if the Harry Brook one is tactical. Exposure of playing in the Big Bash, England might be going, you're a white ball cricketer for us in the foreseeable future, but you're not a red ball cricketer for us yet. And that's absolutely fine. And his better experience is going to come from playing in the Big Bash, the exposure, the amount of games, the quality around him, and getting experience of doing that. That could easily be why that decision has been taken on. Also, James Vince just fact-checked. No central contract. No idea where I've made that up from.
Shocker. A couple of other names I just want to throw in there as well that just part of the conversation. Jake Libby, Worcester opener of a 1,000-run season for him. But as we did speak about when we had our friend Torley on recently, a lot of those runs Libby did score were early on in the season when it was an absolute batting, just a beaut, wasn't it? That track at Worcestershire at New Road. So it's not all about that, but he's, maybe they're taking that into consideration as well as his age. But for me, it's a name I keep bringing up as well. Derbyshire all-rounder, Matt Critchley, 1,000 runs in the county championship with 30+ wickets. Yes, people like the evergreen Kent all-rounder, that's name just escapes me for a moment. Darren Stevens, you're going to tell me. He's got all the plaudits of being the finest all-rounder this season. But Matt Critchley, 30+ wickets and 1,000 runs.
Does it every year, mate. He's quality, eh?
Ascending player. It's a shame he's not got the credit and snuck himself in this squad as well. But it is what it is. Jamie Smith, that's going to be my tip to make the England squad, along with Saqib Mahmood. So just going to throw those out there.
Very, very nice, mate. So it's a good-looking squad. Excited for it when it kicks off, but we do have T20 action going on before then. But there is... I don't know the right way to phrase this, a shake-up in the Australian top order.
Something's been shaking, hasn't it?
It definitely has.
You know all about this, mate. I mean, as we go through, even through the World Cup, as we get news that influences the Ashes preparations and the Ashes series, we're going to keep jumping on it like we have done with that England's line team. Ashes update for the hosts, Australia. Will Pukovski, mate. He's having a tough one. Rob, you've had your concussion issues, misdeeds in a wrestling ring. Yours, wasn't they? Pukovski's 23. He's got his 10th concussion. We follow American sports, and when you're talking third or fourth concussion, you're saying, "Oof, this could be career-ending." Yeah. I'm not saying we're at that point with this guy, but he's 23. He took the opener took a blow to the head last week whilst training with Victoria, and he's managing his recovery with the staff. So he's somebody that probably was in contention, more than likely would have been opener when England come to town. He scored 62 on his test debut against India in January, probably the last test Australia played. Before having surgery on a shoulder injury. So he's averaging 53 in first-class cricket. This is a big one, really. First of his concussions came playing Aussie rules as a teenager. He's had another 8 bounces, dive to complete a run, a blow in the head in the field, and hit a door at his home. He doesn't like his head. That's all I can think. But he's had a rough one, and it's going to take him longer to recover, just because obviously he's had these issues before. But he's opening the door now, hopefully not banging himself anywhere he shouldn't. But Marcus Harris, who had an exceptional summer for Leicestershire, but also had a horrific summer in England in 2019 against England. But he's getting himself talked about. Tim Payne interview talking about Pukovski. He name-checked Harris, obviously 10 test caps for him. So we could be seeing a bit of a change of the guard up top. Pukovski was probably the man expecting to get the game, but could be Harris instead.
Could well be, mate. I really feel for Pukovski. He's been longly touted as a real high-quality player for Australia. Averages almost 54 in first-class cricket already, 6 centuries of which 2 are big daddy double hundreds. And I always liken it to, there's less teams, so there's generally higher quality, more intense matches. And to be able to go do that is pretty special. But there is a toll that's coming with it. He's had multiple concussions from bouncers and from just generally playing cricket after the AFL stuff. So and he's had breaks for mental health. And now there's no details around why he had breaks for mental health. They might be post-concussion syndrome that he suffers with, or it may be mental health problems that's going on. But it's really sad to see that a lad that's so young has got these problems. He's not even 24 years old. He's been struggling with concussions for about 4 or 5 years. You've got to try and put the well-being of the player before anything else, and hopefully everyone goes, right, this is what's best, and hopefully he can work out what's best for him. Playing cricket is a completely different thing to playing rugby or American football with concussions, so I don't know how feasible it is to continue with 10 concussions. It's just quite sad. It's quite sad to see.
It really is. It really is, because you want him, first and foremost, you want him to be well. It's as simple as that. Like you said, he has taken breaks from the game for other reasons as well. You've got to wonder if we don't want to speculate too much, but you've got to wonder if some of the impacts of those concussions have impacted that. Obviously, he's a young player, young man trying to make his way in the world and in the game. He's going to get frustrated. He's going to get down, etc. every time one of these things happens, because it knocks him back, doesn't it? Every time he thinks he's on a run of going somewhere, he's having to take a number of steps backwards. And this is what's happening again. Like he said, it's going to take him much longer than anybody else would do because of the impacts he's already had. So, we kind of make a little bit light about it, talking about hitting the door at home. But, we wish him all the best. And it'd be great to see him opening up for Australia again in the Ashes. But it could well be a different partner for David Warner, who we said earlier, David Warner, first ball of the innings in the warm-up game. Warner. Come on, buddy.
Warner's not even good, Nick. So we'll keep touching on the Ashes, and I keep my ear to the ground and watch some of the Aussie news out here, and if there's anything that I pick up over that. And Fox Sport Australia are doing a really good Road to the Ashes podcast, which is available on YouTube. It's got Brendan Julian, Mark Waugh, and they always bring in a Michael Vaughan or an Atherton or a Hussain or someone like that to give an English perspective as pod lead up. So highly recommend listening to that. Ashes done. T20 up to date. 4 games down. So that makes my maths that there's 8 games left as part of this stage, Rich, where we're trying to work out which 2 teams to go through. Just before we go, I think it's worth going, out of the 8 games left, how hard is it now for Bangladesh to qualify? They are one slip up against a good team from not qualifying.
Absolutely. And like we said earlier, yeah, don't want to go over old ground like we've already covered, but Oman, they're confident. They're coming into this with a lot of confidence. They're a very experienced team. They've been together for a long time. They're a very close-knit team. They're going to bring everything. And Bangladesh, if they can't score quickly, you know, if Oman bat first and set themselves a decent target, or even chasing, Bangladesh have got to put runs on the board. It's as simple as that. And it's the next game. It's make or break for Bangladesh coming up. For the rest of them, everyone's got a chance. Netherlands, as we said, they're really in the corner. They're going to struggle to qualify now. So it really is Ireland's and Sri Lanka's to lose. Just the fact that Netherlands have got to beat Sri Lanka after that defeat to Ireland.
And that's what we're going to see tomorrow, mate. It is going to be Oman, Bangladesh, Papua New Guinea, Scotland in tomorrow's games. So yeah, can't wait. Can't wait for the contest. It's been a really good tournament so far.
Absolutely, yeah. And it'd be great if we can jump on in the next couple of days again. We'll try and get a little bit more of an update. We're going to try and do this as we go through, aren't we? Every 2 or 3 days or so. And we've also got some other news we need to get to as well. Big news in the county championship. The structure has been named. It's there's a certain county that has really lost out. And also, we just need to put a pin in the IPL as well, don't we? We saw the final played out recently for that one as well. So I think it'd be great next time we jump on to just maybe crack on with a couple of those bits as well. But yeah, we'll keep chipping away at the news as the World Cup progresses.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. If you've enjoyed it, leave a big thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever you listen to us on any platform. We are available, and we will catch you guys next time.